Welcome into the Pure Progression Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew Downing, here with co-host Quincy Avery. Today, we're talking to Virginia quarterback Beau Pribula. Beau, appreciate you joining us, man.
Appreciate
Chopping
you
it up
having me
today. You have a unique journey, seriously. Like Penn State for 3 years, Missouri had a ton of success. Virginia here this year. You grew up in York, Pennsylvania. Penn State kid, wanted to go to school there. Explain what that recruiting process was like, and then being at Penn State, like what that was like as a kid growing up, wanting to be a Nittany Lion.
Yeah, recruiting process wasn't unique or anything. It was, I guess, maybe 1 year just because of COVID, but I had committed to Penn State before my junior year of high school. So I was pretty locked into Penn State from an early age, and it was just Penn State from there. Ended up playing 3 years there and graduating from there.
Yeah, and then playing with guys there, you played a little bit, some package systems, played behind Drew and some other guys. What did you learn from Coach Franklin, learning from being in that quarterback room and principles that just you've brought with you throughout the rest of your career so far?
I think just my first year, just learning from Sean Clifford. He was a sixth-year guy.
Shout out Cliff.
Yeah, shout out Sean Clifford.
Shout out Cliff.
He was a huge role model for me at the time, just having so much experience in college football. I think he started 4 years, Rose Bowl MVP, just brought so much. He's still in the league now, and just learning from him my first year. And then after that, being able to sit behind Drew and kind of see how he managed different things as a huge recruit out of high school, and just how he remained humble throughout the whole process, and just being able to get on the field a lot, even as a backup, and being able to be in big time games and handle big time moments. That was huge for my development.
Yeah. And you're behind Drew for a bit. Is there a moment where you're like, oh, I should be the guy? And how do you wrestle with that as someone as talented as you and played in some big games? Like you've done some stuff. How do you manage like those expectations? Like, I know I can do this, and you're not able to.
Yeah. Well, I always competed my butt off, every practice, and it wasn't really, I should be the guy over him. It was more of like, I'm just gonna focus on myself and prepare as if I'm the starter, no matter what. And when Drew went down and I had to step up, it wasn't any different mindset wise for me, because I was prepared for that moment mentally.
Yeah. That's super important to have for any quarterback, to prepare like the starter. And then, Drew announces he's coming back, and you decide to go to Missouri, and then you finally have an opportunity to be a starter. You win the starting job, have a ton of success. Like being at Missouri in that early success for you to kind of see that work for 3 years come to fruition, like explain how that preparation prepared you to be the starter and play super well at Mizzou.
I think my time at Penn State prepared me so well for Missouri, just because I had learned so much, and I kind of took all the knowledge and the experience that I got from Penn State and just applied it to myself at Missouri. And when I won the starting job and ended up, playing that season, I think that helped, all the experience, like we talked about from Sean and Drew and everything that I learned from my coaches at Penn State. I think it just really prepared me for that moment for my first year as a starter.
Yeah.
You went through that competition, getting ready to go into another one, like a competition year. What is the mindset, like, each and every day when you're going out to practice? Like, I'm not only trying to, like, win a job, but win a locker room. Like, there's a whole bunch of different things that go into going to a new school, trying to become the guy. What is your mindset, or what are you doing out there every day to like, help you win that job?
I think just trying to focus on being 1% better every day, because, it's not just about being a better quarterback for me. It's also, like you said, about being a better teammate and just kind of being a better leader. And as long as I can just focus on being 1% better every day and focusing on myself and just trying to be the best version of myself, then everything else will handle itself.
Yeah, and he talked about like transferring. I transferred a few times, and understand walking in as a quarterback, like earning the respect of your teammates. Explain to people how when a guy walks in, you're not going to be the most vocal person right away. You have to go earn it. So what are you doing? You're doing 1% better every day, but when you're in the building with these guys, you're trying to create relationships. What are you doing day in and day out to go earn that respect from your teammates?
I think early on when you first show up somewhere, like when I showed up in January, you got to solidify yourself as the hardest worker. You're never leaving the facility. Just trying to earn that respect as a guy that grinds. And then as you get more comfortable with everybody and you're here, then you can become more vocal and put yourself in that position as a leader. But also just hanging out with all the guys outside of football, developing relationships, because nowadays a lot of the guys, on every team, they're transfers, and they could be, 1-year guys in the program. And I think it's really important to hang out with everybody outside of football and just get to know each other and build that brotherhood as a team.
Yeah, for sure.
And as a transfer, what was special about UVA? Like, that's where I'm going to go. Because I know as someone who played as well as you did last year, you could pretty much go anywhere. Like, what was like, all right, I want to go be a member of that UVA football team?
I think it started with Coach E and the way that he runs his program. And, I think in this day and age in college football, the way that he runs it is he wants to build champion men, not just have a successful football program. And I think it started with him, and then sitting down with, the offensive coaches and going over the offensive scheme was a big thing for me. And obviously last year's success, what they were able to do, and just the belief around the program and how it's on an upward trajectory. And then it's closer to home for me too. It's only a 4-hour drive, and so that was good to be able to have my family, my grandparents be able to come to the games this year.
They getting every game this year?
Yeah, that's the plan.
On the road, your parents get to every game too?
My parents came to every single game last year.
That's awesome. So that's sweet. And the toughness that, like, your skill set you talked about fitting in an offense like this showed up last year a ton. I think everyone remembers the really close Alabama game. You guys are playing so well at that time. And then, of course, injuries happen in football. Vanderbilt, it's a big-time matchup, and, ankle injury happens. For you, those 24 hours afterwards, you're maybe unsure, like, is this the end of my season? Is there an opportunity for me to play? Like, for someone going through this big high of playing super well and then an injury, like, explain what those 24 hours and that emotional processing is like as a player.
Extremely hard. Like you said, it was a big-time game. We were college game day against Vandy. You're at the top of the world one second, and then the next you don't think you're going to play the rest of the season. But for me at that point, there wasn't much in my control. I was in a boot, non-weight bearing for 2 weeks, and we had no idea what that looked like. But as soon as I could walk after 2 weeks, I was like, one day at a time, and I kind of circled that Oklahoma game on the road, and I was like, if I can get back in 4 weeks, I'm going to do everything I can, even if that means putting extra tape on my ankle, not being able to run. Like, I want to be out there and play in that game. So I think just taking it one day at a time and being able to control what you can control.
Yeah. In 4 weeks, I mean, people don't understand. You dislocate an ankle, and when you dislocate something, there's some form of ligaments being stretched, torn a little bit. Like, what are you doing in 4 weeks? If you're non-weight bearing for 2, what are you doing in those 2 weeks? Saying, like, I'm going to play against Oklahoma, who's a college football playoff team, really good defense, and be able to be myself on a Saturday.
I think the biggest struggle was being non-weight bearing for 2 weeks. Like, you can't do anything. You're sitting down, you can't throw, you can't do anything. And that alone is difficult, to go 2 weeks just being a couch potato, in essence, to being thrown on the field and at Oklahoma and Norman. That was like the biggest struggle. But I mean, credit to the training staff at Missouri. They were unbelievable. We were doing hyperbaric chamber, red light, everything under the sun.
That's right.
You got it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And God willing, I was able to play. So
yeah, that's awesome.
As a football player, what do you think is the thing that differentiates you from other quarterbacks? Like, what is your superpower out there in the field?
I would say, first of all, I've always been blessed with an athleticism. I was always an athlete, and being able to extend plays and threaten defenses in different ways where they have to respect the run game first, and then just being able to beat them, up here, really. I take a lot of pride in my preparation and being able to recognize certain things on defenses and knowing every check and all those things. But I think if you can kind of, think ahead and have a plan pre-snap, it makes everything easier.
And you're a quarterback who's been in a lot of systems, right? You've seen a lot of OCs throughout your career. What is it that helps you, like, pick up these offenses really quickly, because you've been able to show success, pick up these offenses so you can play above the neck? And I think, it looks like that's what you're doing out there every Saturday. Yeah,
I think having multiple offensive coordinators, because I had 2 at Penn State and then 1 at Mizzou, obviously, and 1 here. I think it's actually an advantage, because you learn so much about just the overall concepts of offense in football, because everybody kind of does the same thing. They just have their own makeup and own tweaks and own language to it. And I think the first offensive coordinator change at Penn State was when I really learned how to kind of process and go through that, because the offensive coordinator was Andy Kotelnicki at Penn State, and he had long terminology and play calls. And it was tough at first trying to learn those. We were all huddle. We were on a wristband calling it, and it would basically tell everybody what to do and the play call.
Is it giving you two plays and you have the chance to kill it if you need to?
Yep. And I would, draw every single play. And then the main thing for me was, after I draw it all and kind of try to memorize that, was getting a script and walking through it kind of in my living room or bedroom or wherever, and literally kind of seeing a defense, boom, send the motions, run the play, do the play again, send the motion, oh, it's this look, boom, can it, because, whatever.
We got 4 weeks.
Yeah,
exactly.
And once you do that and you walk through, and then you walk through again with the team, and then once you get out there and you practice and then you're in the game, you've ran the play multiple times against different looks, all in your head, and your brain doesn't recognize the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. It thinks the same thing. Mm-hmm. So if you can do that and condition yourself, that's kind of the main way I've kind of learned how to do that.
Yeah, that's so valuable to steal those extra reps for any quarterback. Walking through by yourself in your room, nobody's watching you. You can get as many reps as you need to,
and you can look like a clown.
You can, but nobody's watching you, right?
Nobody's
so you're
watching.
Getting the reps. And the preparation piece, playing above the neck, really separates good quarterbacks from great quarterbacks, because athleticism. We were talking to Eli earlier. Everybody can throw the ball, but how you separate yourself above the neck, and then when you get into a season, it's a grind week in and week out, because it's rinse repeat on Sunday, do it all again. When you're starting on Sunday, you've finished up watching the tape from your previous game. What's your process? Take the team oriented out, or you're doing the stuff in the meeting room. When you're just Beau by yourself watching tape, what's your process from Sunday leading up to kickoff on Saturday?
I wish I had my phone. I have a list of what I would do in my notes, but
general
Sunday, you watch the game 2, maybe 3 times if you want, and then you flush it. You're on to the next. You might watch it with your coach on Sunday, but after that, you just got to move on. And then Monday, it's each day of the week, I'm going to have a certain kind of bucket. Like Monday, Tuesday could be base downs. You're scouting the defense base downs. And then Tuesday, Wednesday could be third down. And then as you get later in the week, you're red zone. And then you get to specific kind of unique situations like 2-minute, 4-minute, because every defense kind of does something different in those situations. And then at the end of the week, kind of just summarize the whole thing. And by Saturday, you should feel really good about yourself.
Yeah, you're watching that much tape and doing all these walkthroughs, you'd be ready to go.
Yep.
And then for this Virginia team, a ton of success last year. They go 11 wins, most in school history. They're playing for an ACC championship, on the cusp of playing in the college football playoff. For this 2026 team with a bunch of new players, someone new at quarterback, what's the expectation for this group of guys?
Obviously, after a successful season the year before, you want to get back there. You want to get back to the ACC championship. That should be the goal every year. But I think the challenge is just focusing on the 2026 Virginia team, because last year's team is not this year's team. We can't assume we're going to have success just because we did last year, and vice versa. We have to focus on being the best version of this year's team.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you getting on. I know it was quick chopping it up, but it was awesome stuff.
Yeah,
appreciate it, dude.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Pure Progression Podcast. I'm Matthew Downing, here with the co-host Quincy Avery. Today we're talking to Virginia quarterback Eli Holstein. Eli, appreciate you getting on and talking with us, man.
Thanks for having me. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, so you got an interesting journey, especially nowadays in college football, the movement. But from Zachary, Louisiana, you go to Alabama out of high school, crowded QB room, playing for Nick Saban. But Jalen Milroe, third-round pick. Ty Simpson, he's a first-round pick previously. That time at Alabama, what did you learn in that quarterback room being around NFL guys like that in a big-time program?
I mean, to be honest, just how to be an NFL guy, especially learning from Coach Saban. And, I got to spend a lot of time with Clinton Dix, Coach Wisenhunt. There's NFL experience throughout that entire, facility. So just spending as much time with those guys as I could, taught me a lot. And I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think that people know Saban is like maybe the greatest college football coach of all time?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he might be the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, no kidding.
What would be something like you could say, like, I learned from him, I'm taking that with me. I got that in my cap. I'm going to roll with it.
Just the attention to detail. I mean, everybody always talks about how hard and everything he is. I mean, deep down, he was actually a really good guy and everything like that. But if you didn't do the little things right, you didn't do the details right, then the hard, the notorious, Saban came out. But I mean, it was really simple. I mean, he won all those national championships for a reason. He made sure that the guys were doing little things right. When we were in the weight room, we had to tuck our shirts into our shorts and everything like that. Just little things, make sure the A was, the right way on the dumbbell rack. Just, not just out on the football field, weight room, class, everything. Just had to do the little things right, and that's why he was so successful, and everybody that came through Alabama has been so successful.
I think attention to detail is something that really separates okay quarterbacks from great quarterbacks. As you're like going into football, right? Those attention to details. What is something about you like on the football field that you're like, all right, these are the real details that matters that maybe a younger quarterback looking at this may overlook?
What I've learned, and I learned it real quick when I got to college, was everybody can throw a football. I mean, if you get to Alabama, Virginia, Pitt, like everybody at that point can throw a football, but the little details, the difference that makes, the difference between the first string and the third or fourth string is, one, knowing who to throw it to, protection, everything like that, coverage, defense. There's a lot more that goes into it than just throwing a football. So if you know those little things like that, then that's what's going to excel you to being a great quarterback, not just a quarterback in the room.
Yeah, and then being a quarterback, especially in college, the magnitude of people are looking at you, right? Nowadays, guys are getting paid money, so there's criticism from, warranted from whoever it may be, and you got to deal with success well, and you got to deal with adversity well. And you saw a good bit of that during your time at Pitt, right? A ton of success early. You played really well, dealt with injuries, so you've seen that side of it. Mm-hmm. Like dealing with that success, going through some injuries, maybe going through, whatever a coach's decision might be. Internally, you still have to show up every day. Like, what did you learn through those moments of success and adversity to kind of help develop you as a man, as a player, as a quarterback?
Going through those, especially those adverse moments, when those highs are high, it's great. It's a lot of fun. You love football and everything like that. Everybody loves you, but especially when those low are pretty low, there's a lot of people outside of the building, that don't really, truly appreciate you. But it made me just realize, one, why I started playing football. Why I love football, it's from a little age, just love, going out there, playing the game, having fun, and especially just the relationships and the camaraderie that you get from playing football. I mean, those guys, truly supported me, through injuries, making the QB change when I was at Pitt, my family, friends, everything like that. I feel like I really leaned on those people, and those people made the biggest difference for me.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And then when you're preparing to be a starter, people don't necessarily understand the magnitude of what it takes. Like, yes, you're a full-time student. There's other people going to class too, but you have to show up and you have to do a job. Mm-hmm. And you have to put in a lot of hours outside of the required time that you're in with the team, right? You got to watch tape, whatever it may be. For you, what do those hours look like? When you're going through a week of prep and I'm playing a game, how are you preparing week in and week out?
I mean, it depends on the day. I'm not sure how they do here at Virginia. I haven't had a game week with them, but, at certain places it was, base downs on Monday, just getting the extra meeting, not just by yourself, but also with that OC, the quarterback coach, making sure you're all on the same page. Tuesdays would be third downs, and then Wednesdays would be red zone, high red, low red, anything like that, goal line, just to make sure you understand what you're doing, but also you got to understand what the defense is doing in those certain situations, what kind of coverages they like, what kind of blitzes they like, everything like that. And then Thursday, you kind of that's when the hay is in the barn. You got to wrap it all up at that point and just, be confident in your game plan, be confident in, what the coach has for you, and just go out there and have fun and play ball.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got to go through the transfer. You got recruited once, and then you got to go through the transfer portal twice, right? So I know it's probably different when you're 17, 18, picking a school. But transfer portal, like, what were you looking at in terms of where you wanted to go in order for you to put your best foot forward in order to play in the NFL?
I mean, yeah, coming out of high school, it was, who loved you the most, who showed you the most attention, who had the best facilities and everything like that. But, I mean, it was kind of the same way, coming out Alabama going to Pitt, kind of just, where did I feel most wanted and everything like that. But this time, I really feel like I made the best decision for myself. I came to a great school. First of all, I think, a degree from Virginia means, a lot more than, degrees from pretty much anywhere else in the country.
100%.
It's a top 5 public university in the country. So I get to go home and brag about that Virginia degree.
Yeah.
And then it's a great people, top down, Coach Elliott, Coach Lamb, Kitch, Coach Smo in the weight room, and it's just a bunch of great people, a bunch of people that, I would want to emulate when I'm their age, just great men, great men of God as well, is a big deal for me. And just, just a thing where, hey, if football's not going well, is it somewhere where I would want to be, no matter what, and just, enjoy life, enjoy football and everything like that. So just, it was straight business. It was, taking pictures or anything like that. Didn't get to dress up or anything like that. It was
Just talking ball.
Talking with the strength and conditioning coach, because that's what I want to do. And I'm getting a degree in kinesiology, so meeting with Coach Smo was a big deal for me. Being able to learn under him and everything like that, I feel like it's going to help me a lot in life.
Yeah, it's so funny how we were just talking about recruiting out of high school versus college, and it's like I don't need the show. That's not what I need anymore. I want to know the X's and O's. I want to know what we're doing on offense. Does this fit what I want to do as a quarterback, and is this going to accentuate my skills? As a player, what do you think is the thing that separates you from everybody else? And I know we're getting ready to go through a quarterback battle, all those things, but it's really about what you're doing every single day. So what are the things that you do that are differentiated from everybody else?
Like I said, everybody can throw the ball, but as a quarterback, I feel like I can throw the ball a little bit better than anybody else.
Gotta have the confidence. You should feel that way.
Absolutely.
You have to walk on the field and feel that.
Definitely.
You have to.
I'm a big guy, I'm not the guy that's gonna, run around like Lamar Jackson or anything like that. I kind of emulate the Josh Allen play style. I can run around, you run through, you jump over you, stuff like that. I like to get out of the pocket, make some plays when I need to, but if it's a clean pocket and I can just sit there and, deliver the ball down the field, that's what I want to do. I'm a get the ball to the playmakers first type of guy. That's what I want to do. I would much rather my slot receiver have the ball in his hands than me. I understand, they recruited him for a reason.
Right.
He's going to go make a play.
Back there,
yeah,
right?
you just got to be a point guard, just distribute the ball, make my job easy. But I feel like that different thing that I bring, is just that relationship with the guys. I feel like I can, talk to them, outside of the field, especially when they're getting, dog cuss and MF by that coach. They're really pissed about something.
Yeah, you're in it together, man.
It's definitely going to happen, but you got to be that guy that can bring them to the side, make them laugh, smile, talk to them and be like, hey, man, what you thinking? Hey, this is what they're trying to tell you to do. You got to, this is what you need to change, everything like that. And just, get everybody on the same page, get everybody at the same goal and move forward. I feel like just being a leader and having that it factor.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, transferring around and in the relationship, I transferred as well and understand.
He transferred 4 times.
Three times. Injuries, COVID, whatever, baby. But understanding how difficult it is to walk into a locker room, you're trying to earn respect right away. You can't be a vocal guy right off the bat because you got to go earn it with those dudes.
Absolutely.
Because they don't care where you came from. They don't care how many stars you had, what it is. It's what you do on the field. It's what you do in the locker room. It's how good of a person you are to them. With this new era of ball and transferring around, you guys got 30 transfers, new high school players. In this world, what is that like meshing together? Because it's essentially like the NFL where it's a new roster every single year. How do you bring a group of 18 to 23-year-old guys and be like, hey, we're in this. We're new, but we're in this?
Absolutely. I think the quickest way to bring together the team and everything like that is to suffering out there on the field with the strength coach. Guys are going to respect each other when, they see each other, suffering with each other, going through blood, sweat, and tears out there. When things get hard, I feel like that's, when it truly comes out who you are, just earning respect in the weight room, busting your ass on the
busting your ass.
You're busting your ass in the weight room. I feel like that's one of the best ways to earn respect, earn the trust of the guys is just going out there and getting to work. You don't have to be the rah-rah guy that, breaks everybody down and everything like that. Like, hey, dude, you just got here. Who are you? Right. I understand that. We'll leave that to the guys that have been there. But, slowly, if they see that the work that you're putting in, the product that you're putting out on the field and out in the weight room, those guys are going to respect that. And that's, I feel like, brought this team together, especially, our Wahoo drills or at Alabama, we had that fourth quarter program and everything like that. it sucks. You know, we do it for a reason. You know, it's going to be hard, you know, but how do you react? You know, how do you respond from stuff like that? I feel like it's the best way those guys are going to see who you are as a player and most of all as a person. You know, what are you going to do when things get tough? And those guys really respect that, and I feel like that's what brought us together this time.
Man, what the heck is a Wahoo drill? For the folks out there, they're like, yo, Wahoo drills, what is that?
I mean, there's a lot of different names for it. I know Wahoo drills, Matt drills.
Okay.
Matt drills is
Yeah.
the notorious kind of thing. Fourth quarter program was what we called it at Bama. It was not fun.
It separates you a little
Yeah,
bit.
it separates the boys from the men.
Oh, yeah.
quickly.
Oh yeah, one of the player personnel guys at Alabama, Denzel, my guy. He played linebacker at Alabama back in the day, and he told me, he's like, yeah, man, once I got through fourth quarter program, I felt like a god. I felt like I can do anything.
Oh yeah.
That first week, we were doing some running or whatever, and about from my knee down would just go numb.
No.
Just couldn't feel anything like that. I mean, we're doing probably 30, 80-yard sprints and just nonstop, and it's different. But yeah, got through it and felt like I could do anything now.
Yeah, definitely. And sounds like it's going well so far in the summer through spring, earning it. You talk about your skill set, who you are as a player. And when you're transferring, you have 2 years left, older guy. You want to be in the right system, set yourself up for success in college. And, you know, every quarterback wants to go play in the NFL. What about Coach Elliott's experience at Clemson with those guys, those quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson, Trevor, Coach Kitch, and then Coach Lamb, that experience? He was a great player at App State. What about this offense felt like, man, this is a great fit for me, and this is exactly where I need to be?
I felt like this was a really good, you know, pro-style offense. You know, Coach Kitch was in the league for a little while. I know he's with the Falcons recently. You know, just getting under center. You know, I'd love to get under center. I haven't been able to do that yet in college, and I just being able to do that in practice, it was awesome. You know, play action, you know, outside zone, mid zone, everything like that. Just being able to get under center, just play action, deep ball, everything like that. I mean, we do a little bit of everything. And I feel like it's the best thing for me as a quarterback. You know, I want to be able to, you know, throw a stick route and get 6 yards, but also be able to throw a 20-yard backside dig, you know, and get a chunk play off a play action pass, or, you know, throw a post 50 yards down the field. But I also do, you know, handing the ball off 5 times in a row and just keep moving the chains. You know, whatever the team needs to do to win, I feel like this offense is very, very balanced. I mean, we can run the ball 3 times to get a first down, but we can also throw the ball 3 times, you know, to get a first down. I feel like that's the best offenses do that, and I can't wait to play in it.
I think people always talk about like dealing with adversity, but you've also had some real success. Like you go 7-0. What was that like to really be like, yo, I'm the man. We're top 25. Like I got things going. How did that feel?
It was awesome. I mean, it was a dream come true. Especially, I mean that was my first time starting, first time playing college football. You know, you come from Alabama, you're at the bottom of the depth chart, and if we're gonna be honest, you start questioning things a little bit. You know, and then you get that opportunity at Pitt, and you know, you got to, you know, battle and everything like that with some other quarterbacks in the room. And then, you know, a week before the first game, you get that call that, hey, you're going to be the starting quarterback for us against Kent State. And then you go out there in that first drive, you know, you get that first completion out of the way, and you're just like,
here we go.
I guess I can
It's
do
like,
this.
Here we go.
You know, and then I go on that first drive. I think I had like 8 completions and a passing touchdown. I was like, wow, like, it's kind of easy. Kind of feel good about myself and everything like that. But, you know, just as the season went on, we were the first 7-0 team since like what, 82 or whatever, something like that. Since like Dan Marino, something crazy like that. And just being able to have that success was a lot of fun. But I feel like what made that, you know, moment a lot more special was the group of guys that we had, especially those older guys. You know, they really took me in, you know, helped me out so much. Brandon George, starting linebacker, he was a big part. He was my fall camp hotel buddy and everything like that. Just, you know, hearing where he came from and how hard he's worked to get where he was and everything like that, just helping me out and just made it a lot more fun, made it a lot more special, you know, being able to share that experience with all those guys on that team.
And you were in a quarterback battle to start that. So you kind of have some experience going into this. What is really the mindset of a quarterback going into camp? Like, I'm competing for position. I'm not the guy entrenched yet. I got to go out there and earn it. So, like, what are you doing every day to walk away and be named the starter?
Got this idea from my dad, this mentality. I'm not competing against the other quarterback. I'm competing against the defense in front of me at that moment.
Yep.
You know, I know if I can beat that defense, no matter if I'm going, you know, with the 3s against the 3 defense or the 2 defense, it doesn't matter. 2s versus 2s, 1s versus 1s. But as long as I can beat that defense in front of me, you know, the rest is going to take care of itself. Yes, at the end of the day, I am competing with the other guy, but I got to beat the defense in front of me. Don't worry about, what did he do on this drive? What did the other guy do on this drive? Oh, I didn't throw a 50-yard touchdown. Just as long as you're sustaining drives, beating the defense, making the right play, the rest is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, that shit's damn near impossible when you start thinking about what is he doing.
Oh yeah,
man.
You start getting your head. Then you start playing out of your comfort zone, trying to make plays.
I shouldn't be doing. End up throwing an interception because you saw him throw. It just.
I mean, the common phrase, comparison's the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a great mindset because I remember going through a quarterback battle early in my career and being like, gosh, he just threw a touchdown. Like, I have to go match that.
Absolutely.
And then you go make a mistake. You throw an interception, you're forcing a ball. I've been in a game where, like, I feel like I have to press because I need to go get it, and you make a mistake. So it's a great mindset to have for any quarterback that's going through a battle. Like, you control what you can control. You can sustain drives, make completions. You're going to be all right. And then just to wrap here, 2025, Virginia has a great year. Best year in a long time. 11 wins, first time in school history. It's kind of the target on the back now. Coming in as a new guy, going to help lead this team now with that mindset and that perspective. What's the expectation for this group in 2026?
I feel like the mindset that we need to have is this team hasn't done anything, especially with as many new guys as we have. I mean, you see that we had 30 transfers and everything like that. I mean, this is a brand new team. This team hasn't won a game yet. We haven't, gone and played NC State yet and gotten that first ACC win yet. We got to, do the things right. We can't feel entitled to the success that the team last year had. We got to go out there and go 1-0 every week. I feel like that starts right now, though, especially in this summer when it's hot. Nobody wants to wake up and go work out, get some extra throws after to workouts or whatever like that, just get out 7-on-7 against the defense, just getting the little details in, getting that extra work in. Nobody wants to really do that. But if you want to be successful like the team was last year, that's what you got to do. That's what they did. And, if we want to be successful and, go even further than they did, we probably got to do a little bit more than those guys did.
Love that mindset, man.
100%. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thanks for hopping on. Hey, great talk. Going through quarterback battles, what it's like through adversity. Like, this is real stuff as a quarterback.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Glad you were able to join us, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, bro.